All right, welcome, ladies. A couple of updates first. Michaela got a job. She got herself like a job, a real job.
Mm-hmm.
And so it conflicts with our weekly call time. Nahid is still touring right now, and Marissa should be here. She's just, she's doing her job thing too. So just so you guys know, so I am looking to actually, I don't want to say like replace Michaela because you can't replace Michaela, but I'm looking to add somebody to our specific mastermind because I do think that there's like a sweet spot of like 5 to 7 that feels good. And so when she's not, when we miss somebody, I feel it energetically. That being said, love being on the calls with the three of you women. Like y'all are powerhouses. Part two of a new development that just feels um I don't like have the words for like how I feel about it. I get teary when I talk about it. One of the sisters in the group, her name's Tywia. She's not in this mastermind, but she's in a different one. She is a newer member of the Sisterhood. She's been involved for the last couple months, but only recently got into a mastermind, only recently came to her first monthly gathering. When she came, she brought her daughter, Soraya, who is 14 and is going through a really challenging time. And Tywia has been wanting her to be in a coaching container with me. Yes, Dira, you remember them. Yeah, so they were on a monthly gathering a couple months ago, and I think Kat Tywia was also on the one that you were on. So she's been basically in the last couple of months in like this manifestation mode, trying to raise the money to pay for me, and there was like something about it that just was not working for me energetically. I was like, this is not feeling good, that it's this hard for her to raise money to pay me for her like I was just like, this is not what sisterhood is about. It's not working. So I scheduled a call with Tywia this weekend, and I said, look, I really would love the phrase that kept coming to mind was, it takes a village to heal a child. That was the phrase that came to mind. This is where I get teary. It takes a village to heal a child, and your daughter is in need of support, and you're in need of support. You're struggling financially. I do not want the work that I do with your daughter to be a burden on you financially. This vision came to me of 50 women sponsoring a trauma healing container for youth. So for every 50 women that join the sisterhood, two different youth would be sponsored every year, because my programs are 6 months. So my coaching container, where I take them through 5 stages of healing and channel a trauma healing song and all of that we all listen to on the monthly gatherings, that's a 6 month process. And so basically what I offered is like, what if Soraya was the first recipient of this sponsorship? And Tywia was like completely moved by that, ended up in tears, was all about it. And so it felt, even though it's still new, we're not like, I'm meeting with her again later today to shoot some content that we can share officially with the sisterhood and on social media and everything. I'll get some content with her. I'll get some content with her daughter to help tell the story. But it just felt important to share with you all at this stage as it's kind of crystallizing. So just so that you could feel it, and so you know what's happening and how your membership is like supporting the growth of not only us coming together and being supported as women ourselves, but also like how your contribution is having a ripple effect in terms of support. So you guys will be involved in sponsoring as members of the sisterhood, as the first 50 members of the sisterhood. You guys will actually be involved in sponsoring the first trauma healing container for a young person of color who gets sponsored in this way. So I just think that's really cool. Like I said, Soraya is 14. She is an aspiring singer songwriter herself, which is a really cool aspect of it. She is going through some identity crises right now, and that's probably as much as I can say without betraying confidence, right? But it's just such a yeah, it just feels so good. And she is brilliant. Yeah. She would, if you haven't seen the call that she was on, Kat, I definitely encourage you to check it out from a couple, I think it was October's monthly gathering that Tywia and her daughter were on. She said just like brilliant things. Brilliant things. So, so yeah, so that's a new development. So just now, so that being said too, I am it feels like a nice time. Both you and but the two of you have actually both sent me testimonials. Karen has agreed to share one as well. But now is a really beautiful time for referrals too. Like if you know a sister who would benefit from a mastermind, who would benefit from coming to calls, who likes the idea of, you know, having a tangible way of supporting healing for a young person of color, you know, all of that. Now's a really beautiful time because there's like a sister in the field, a member of the sisterhood is needing support in that way, and there's a young person who's wanting support in that way as well. So any questions, thoughts? Kat? Yeah, Kat, go ahead. That's okay, Karen.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
didn't
Karen's
need it this
back.
much.
Um, okay, so that's exciting, first of all. And I'm part of this group called the Beauty Boost, and they have any of you heard of the Beauty Boost? Because they're okay, so they started in Dayton, Ohio, which is this tiny little place in Ohio, and they've now expanded nationally and have like national sponsors and everything like that. They've only been around for a short time. Anyways, so they've really kind of gotten like systems together and things to like help expand. And so I'm an ambassador for them. So basically what that means is like I pay a yearly fee, and then I have these like 6 really simple, easy things to do throughout the year. And one of them is to invite people to come to an event, 2 events that we have, because we have both virtual and in-person events. But what makes it really simple, because now you're like, you know, if you know anyone, now's a good time to invite them. What I love about the Beauty Boost is they provide us the exact words of what to say and also create the content of an image to share for me. So that's just an idea. Like if you could provide that for us, that I think would be so much easier, because I already know like 3 people, that if I can just like have the words put together with an image and text it to my friend Amanda, like boom, that's done. And it's in the words that you feel, you know? There's just an idea. And then same for like social media. Like if you're wanting us to like share something on social media, have it be branded, you know, for you, and like you have created the graphic, and then people can choose to use them or not. Like if you don't want to use them, if you don't want that on your social media, don't use it, you know. But I find that so much easier for the Beauty Boost and for like me to share. Just want to provide that feedback.
Yes, 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 yes. I can totally do it. In fact, I already have some because I do have an affiliate program. So there are some women who have decided to become affiliates. And so I created some of that for my affiliates. And so that actually brings up a different point. I do have an affiliate program. So if you want to become if you're going to share it anyways and you want to earn affiliate commissions, I offer 50% commissions for the affiliate. So if they do the yearly, that's $22 a month, or if they do the monthly, $22 a month. If it's yearly, $220 a year for every sister that you enroll through your link.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah,
What is it like? What does it look like to be an affiliate?
I mean, I send you a link to, you know, I run everything through Kajabi. So you just, you know, sign up as an affiliate through Kajabi. And then I offer weekly calls specifically for affiliate members. Those are 2-hour calls that you can come to if you want. It's not like it's required, but it can just be helpful if you want to come to the call and say, hey, I want to invite this sister, but I don't exactly know how to do it. What's the best way? Or just get educated a little bit on like I share like my sales process, like how I do sales for the sisterhood when I do calls versus how I would do a sale on like a social media post. And that's it. So you sign up, and then there's an additional weekly call that you can come to if you want. You don't have to. Other than that, it's just like you just earn commissions for everybody that you sign up is all. So,
Cool. Okay. Send me a link.
okay, I will share it. I'll
Yeah.
share it in the mastermind for all of you.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. Any other questions or thoughts or feedback on any of that stuff? Okay, cool. Well, This is the first Monday of December, so it would normally be our biz tip swap, but full transparency, I just didn't get it together to reach out to you guys for your tips. However, Karen came through. Karen, y'all, that share was clutch because I thought what we could do, honestly, in this call is just share. I don't have a specific prompt at this moment, but like, Kat, listening to what you shared, you're posting twice a day. I know uh all of us are posting on Instagram. Dira's got TikTok down like seriously, and you're also thinking about exploring YouTube. It's such like social media is such an important aspect of our business, and also like we get to learn about ourselves in how it is we relate to social media and show up on social media. And so, Karen's sharing of that podcast kind of sparked, which was already like the tip of the month, I felt it sparked this thought in me of like, oh, I wonder if we just need time to like share how we're feeling about our relationship to social media. Do we want to take on the garbage post challenge? Is that something we want to do? And Dira, did you get a chance to listen to the podcast?
I did not. My nursing job was on fire all weekend, so I
All
kept
good.
getting called in.
All good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can
Karen.
sum it up for you now too if you
Yeah,
want.
I was gonna say.
It's basically like a challenge to get you to one, see posting as like it's powerful, but it also doesn't have power over you. You know what I mean? And it's just important to kind of like show up as it is to like try to curate the most perfect post ever or the most perfect video, the perfect CTA. It's like you could literally, she uses this as an example. She's like, you could literally post something where like, this is my cat Muffin. Isn't she so cute? And that counts. So basically, it's like, it all counts as long as it's in the language that you speak and you actually publish it. Those are the only two criteria. So like Instagram stories, YouTube shorts, TikToks, emails, like it all counts, right? And it's just try to post 100 times in 30 days. It's not even daily. Like if you want to post 10 times in one day and then take a week off, you can do that. But just like it's also kind of like training your brain to not feel scared about being visible, not feel scared that people are seeing you, or if nobody comments on your post, like not to like let that like trigger you. You know what I mean? It's like she's just something, and I think about like quantity actually does create quality in this regard, because you start to just get your wheels turning and the creativity is like constantly flowing, and like there's no such thing as a stupid thing, etc., etc. So yeah, so the whole thing was just like our conversation last week. I was feeling a way about social media, and there was something in there where I was like, I feel like I need to explore this. And then that podcast showed up in my zeitgeist, and I was like, okay, that's the thing that I needed. And so um yeah, and then you realize even if you're in like your Instagram story, it's like sometimes you could be in the stories like 6, 7, 8 times a day, and that all counts towards your 100. And that's it.
Yeah, so and my understanding exactly is like whether you're doing stories or main feed or emails or blog posts, like all of that counts towards your
Mm-hmm.
100 posts.
Yep.
And a
Yep.
big thing, which Karen touched on, but a big thing that she talked about was it's like the problem that she's a business coach, right? The woman who did the
Yeah,
podcast.
she's a coach, a business coach, a marketing coach for coaches.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
Coaches who coaches.
Coach.
Okay. It's yeah, so she was like the biggest thing that I see with coaches when it comes to their marketing is not how brilliant you are. It's perfectionism. You stop yourself because you think everything has to be perfect, and then either you don't put it out or you take too long to put it out and the inspiration is gone or like whatever, but like it gives you permission to like overcome perfectionism. And I love when she talks about why she called it the garbage post challenge, right? It's kind of, she's like, I did it because it's funny and it's cute and da da da. But she's like, I also did it because it kind of tricks your brain be, into saying like, oh, if we're trying to get it right, if what we're doing is trying to be perfect, then if doing this post or doing this challenge perfectly means that it can be a garbage post, and it's a garbage post that I put out, then great, I've done the challenge right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of a way to like trick your brain into like, yeah. So
She said there's something that I saw on her Instagram feed where she's like, the things that you tried really hard to perfect aren't really that good. And the things that you spent zero time thinking about are usually like so great.
it's
So
so
it's like rewiring your brain, basically.
It's so true. It's so true. Yeah. So I think I would love to just use this call to just, yeah, really give ourselves an opportunity to talk about what our commitments are in relationship to our social media, how we feel about those commitments. Are there any blockages there, right? Is there anything that's like, yeah, like Karen said, after our conversation last week, I was feeling a way about social media. Like, are you feeling a way about social media? Is there something there that needs to be explored? So yeah, so just putting all that out, let's talk about social media. It's such a huge part of our business. Holiday season is coming up. There's probably like uh I'm feeling ways about that. Like I'm feeling a way about like, oh, final quarter of the year, holiday season. Should I be having a sale? Should I be, like all the shit that comes up? Let's get all of it out on the table. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's not a very specific prompt, but it's just, we can have a conversation. It doesn't even, like however y'all want to do this. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Yeah, Kat, go ahead.
Got something to say. So I first of all, Karen, you saw my message. I thought it was Naya for some reason that sent it. So thank you,
No worries.
Karen. And
Mhm.
I loved it. And I was actually, so I have a spreadsheet, like a Google spreadsheet, and I share it with my husband and we bounce back and forth of like, here's what we're going to share this month. And like we have themes for our Instagram and our Facebook and our YouTube because they're all like different platforms for us. And then it's like, okay, so each month I have a theme. And then the past 3 weeks, I've like totally been off, like not using my themes, not following what I said I wanted to do. And I was feeling really bummed out about it. I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't posted in like a week because I don't know. I find like social media is a way that you kind of have to use for your business to like it's like a working platform of your visual life, like your visual business, and it's like changing and it's pretty cool. So I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss out on different interactions and connections with people by not being on there. And so the podcast made me feel like, oh, let's just come up with something super garbage and super simple. And I was staring at the back of my laptop and it was like my travel inspiration stickers. And so that was my post. And I was like, okay, yay, I'm back on track. Like this one little podcast like made me feel like I can do it again. Um, and I want to share that. And then also about the holidays, the feelings about social media and holiday time. I think that holiday time is the most important time to meet new people and to not shy away from getting new sales because people are spending money. It's what they're doing right now. Like literally people are buying things every single day that they wouldn't normally buy. They're more open to spending money right now and they're not working as much. So people are just like more available to connect. Like I meet and talk to and network with the most people and like our highest sales have always been December, and it's like because people are spending, people are talking, and they're engaging. So I wouldn't shy away from asking for sales during this time of year, especially through your social media. That's just from my past experience. Like it's when people buy the most.
Yeah.
And they're out networking the most. And they're like places they wouldn't normally, they see more people in 1 month than they do in the whole year, except that's my experience of December. So show it, build, it's such a great content time.
Yeah. You know
Yeah.
what comes up for me around the holidays, honestly, is like because everybody's spending money, I feel like everybody's having financial hardship. Like that's a
Oh,
belief that I have, that like everybody's like, I need to get the best gifts, and I'm spending all my money on my kids and on my this and on my travel and blah blah blah. So I think that everybody's budget is tapped out. That's a belief that I have and that I have had about making sales during the holidays. Is that anybody else have that
But
one?
it's like, why aren't you worth it for them to spend their money on you?
Well,
Now, don't worry about any of that,
yeah, I mean,
That's what I say. Let it go.
there's that is true, and also there's a bunch of other stuff that's true too, right? Because one, everybody is not experiencing financial hardships in December, because not everybody is experiencing financial hardships, period. And so my favorite rule of thumb when it comes to this is stay out of other people's pockets. Okay, like there's that piece. And also people are receiving this month. They're receiving money. They're receiving gifts.
Oh my God,
They're
that's so
receiving
true.
requests for, what do you want for the holidays? You know what I really want? I want some money so that I can sign up for the Sisterhood. People are really, their wheels are starting to turn about new year, new me stuff, and they're looking a little bit ahead, right? So like planting the seed of what can you be doing now to work on yourself moving forward for the next year. It's like, I just saw something the other, like a couple days ago, one of my other coaching friends was like, let's do journal prompts on the winter solstice and like guided meditation, $30. You know what I mean? Like there are people who need the support at this time of year more than anything, because it's so stressful. It brings up so much intergenerational trauma, so much financial trauma, so much like social pressure, right? So let's think about those people who actually really need us more than ever, and maybe they've been like looking, and then you give them the special holiday offer or whatever, or you don't give them the special holiday offer, you give them the always offer just during the holidays, and this is the time where they're like,
True. That's so I don't know why I had never thought of that. People receive a lot. People receive a lot this time of year. Like, of course. You can yeah, that's my scarcity mindset bullshit coming in. And
and
that yeah.
that's the thing which is really at the core of it, is so many of us allow how we feel about money and our relationship with money to inform how we think other people feel about money, and that's not always true.
I can resonate with that so much. Because when I grew up, we were really poor. And with Alex's family, I mean, they weren't like rolling in money, but they didn't really need for things, right? So when we got together, and then it was like 2 years later, we started our business. I approached conversations about because I sell high ticket items. Like with me, you can spend, between $3,000 to $5,000 in one sitting, right? That's not just like, hey, sign up for a $44 a month thing, right? So I had to start really looking at who I am and how I feel about money, and how do I show up and create. So I don't want to change like the clothes I wear or how I look. And then that links into social media, how do I show up online is how I really show up in my real life. And it all ties together about how I feel about money. Like it's so true. And when we started our business, I remember our first sale. I'll never forget it. And anyway, and it just kind of has grown from there. Like, oh my gosh, I was like shaking taking their credit card, And now I'm like, anyone can buy this product, right? We have payment plans, and like, but it's taken me years to get over this through like actual interactions with people and taking their money, and then social media as well, because you already know you have to like follow people. You want to build your target audience on social media, because I want people to follow me, that I want them to buy my product, So it's like this whole crazy freaking thing. But I don't know how this connects, but I found this picture of like me and my husband and our baby when she was small. And I was just looking at it right before our call. And I was thinking like, so I was feeling a little financially stressed. And I was looking at this photo and I was like, well, I look so young. Like, look how young I am in this picture. And then I was like, just hold on to that. Like, hold on to that feeling of like being young and in the moment. One opportunity we all have that we're like courageous enough to even put ourselves out there and grow a business, you know? I don't
Yeah.
want to look back in 30 years and be like, oh, I was all stressed out. I should have been more in the moment, you know? So I don't know how all that ties to social media, but it's from like money thoughts to how you show up and who you connect with online creates your actual reality of the people in your lives. Like who shows up on your phone, you know, who calls you and texts you. We live in such a different world now, you know. I
Yeah.
will stop talking. Someone else talk.
Karen, I
Dara,
feel
you
like
got anything you want to say? I feel like I want to hear from Dara, but I always have something to say, you know. So yeah.
Dara always has something to say. But yeah, thank you for this. And actually, I am going to check out that podcast as soon as I get a few minutes to do that, because with my wanting to start YouTube, like that's a hit I'm really getting seriously, that's going to be part of my business. And I feel like that podcast is something I need to listen to before I get into that, because I do struggle with the perfectionism, even with with my TikToks, which they seem to do really well. But what I've noticed, and like I said in the chat, are the ones where I'm just like, you know what, I'm feeling this today, and I pop my phone up and start recording. Those are the ones that go viral. But like my batch content, it does well, depending. And so I've only recently gotten to a point where I'm okay with that. As that's just sort of how it goes as I start to learn the process and things like that. What I will say with the holidays, that's always a little bit difficult for me, for a lot of reasons. Like my grandmother and I are really close. We used to, up until I guess about 10 years ago, she would send me money every year for my birthday, because my birthday's Christmas Eve. And then I had that huge blowout with my mother like 10 years ago, and then everything stopped. But like my kids get money, my sister gets money, like everybody else gets something except me. And so I was feeling some type of way about that. I didn't remember it until this conversation came up, and I was like, oh, wow, I really got some feelings about the holidays. And so initially I was like, well, I may not do anything special for, the holidays for social media, because, who's going to pay me, blah, blah, blah. Like I projected that into being able to get sales over the holidays, which like I'm doing well with my funnels, but at the same time, I'm not getting as many sales as I'd like to, and as I think I should. Because I feel like what I have to offer is like really awesome. But at the same time, I've got some kind of resistance myself where I've not been promoting, as that's what I realized. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not promoting. Why am I not promoting, and why am I avoiding it? Because I like got sucked into a TV show last week because I was like, I'm stressed out, I'm going to watch TV. It's avoidance. I know that now. But so this is really interesting for me, to sort of, I love being able to get these intuitive hits where I'm like, ooh, that's something I'm projecting, I should look at that. Like that's I don't know, maybe it's my weird Scorpio energy, maybe it's my middle name, but like I really do appreciate that. Like I love it.
Karen, what you got?
Okay, so two things came up. One is like an actual like offer, and two is like more about the piece about the content and the not promoting piece. So I have a question about offers. Feel free to take it or leave it, Dara. Have you thought about offering like Jupiter transit this time of year?
I had not thought about that. No.
Okay, because my human design coach, that's something she used to always offer, because Jupiter be transiting in December, right? And this is all about expansiveness and the Santa Claus of the zodiac, get your wish, right? That could be a really cool December only offer, because literally it's like you're setting up your next year, right? But also the piece about like promoting, one, you can never do it too much. Like if you were to think about it, like how many times a week are you actually saying, hey, if you want to work with me, here's how you can do it? How many times a week do you think you're doing that?
Maybe once.
Maybe once. So
maybe once, yeah.
Maybe once. Okay. There's something there about like people knowing that you have this great content, but then like I basically heard it. I heard it in another podcast, which I'm happy to drop in the thing. It's another podcast about selling for coaches. She was like, when you're just giving content all the time, it's like foreplay with no orgasm. because you're not following it up with the thing that you came for, which is the offer. Whereas when you're giving offer with no content that's like valuable and helpful, it's like not getting the foreplay. So you want to like have that balance of both, and then everybody feels satisfied, because otherwise you're not going to be satisfied as the business owner, because you're stuck with like proverbial blue balls. Sorry, that was graphic, but I'm happy to drop the whole podcast in the link if that would be helpful.
That was so good.
Yes,
I swear to God,
that
I'm
was
gonna like
perfect.
rewatch that section of this replay, so of this call so many
Mhm.
times. It's so good and it's so true. Nobody
But
wants
it's
that.
like no, but I know your content is valuable because I see your content and everything you do is like super fire. And so it's actually just like the contents appear in the offer part. It just it needs to like come up there and like not be shy about it, because that's why they're here for you. They always want to know. And sometimes people even need like 7, 8, 9 times to know what's up before they actually like move forward. That's just like sales philosophy, so the more often you do it, the more it comes. But then it's the piece of like what's stopping you from doing it, that does that need love and attention.
Yeah, it does. It does. And I appreciate that, actually, that metaphor, because that reminds me that, for lack of a better way to put it, I feel like in this situation, I enjoy the foreplay because it comes naturally to me, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
afraid of the orgasm and what can happen after that. Like, I have this fear of success that I've been trying to work through. And I really think that's my biggest blockage right now, that comes into with doing that. Even with the way my offers were priced, I had a couple of friends really get on me because they were like, why are your prices so low? You have so much to offer. And I'm like, well, I want people to come in. And they're like, no, 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 you need to look at that. And so it's like, okay, so that's likely, I feel like that's what this is here too, is that the promotion, I have trouble with it because I still have a fear of my own success. I do also remember, though, to live in the possibilities as opposed to in the fear. So I've been working through that. I'm also kind of like, this has been almost 40 years of me feeling like that. So I feel like maybe there's, a lot of journaling, a lot of looking at it.
Is it okay if we spend some time here?
Yeah, do it.
Okay. Is it okay, dear? Are you okay if we support you here? Do you want some support around the fear of success piece?
Yeah, I would love that. Thank you.
Okay. Because the first thing that came up for me is that question that Naya asks, which is like that fear of success in some ways, like keeping you safe. So, like, what do you get out of not being successful?
What part of you is it serving? Yeah.
Yeah.
Little victim Dira who's still angry, that's who it's serving. Because victim Dira has this thing about, like, when I was having the issues paying my rent last month, and she showed up, and I had a couple of conversations with her. I managed to get past it at that point because I was able to raise the money, pay my rent, and I got a lot of help from everybody when I actually asked for help. That was the big step with that, because I hadn't been the type of person to ask for help before. And I feel like this is like another layer of that. But that's what it is, because victim Dira, if she has to struggle, that's her comfort zone. And so
Mm.
if she has to constantly struggle, she I don't want to say I sabotage myself, but I think that's what it is. Like, it's like, if I'm successful, then I don't have that struggle aspect anymore. Everything is new, it's different, it's a little bit scary, but also like the attention that I'm getting is changing. And so, when you're in a victim mode and you're all in woe is me, like they say, any publicity, even bad publicity, is still publicity. And so when you're in a victim mindset, people are always trying to sort of coddle you, cater to you, try to help make you feel better. And when they have the energy to do so, eventually it gets annoying. But I've gotten to a point where I've tried to I have switched my energy where I don't do that as much. But I think that's what it is. I think there are still traces of that. And right now I'm mostly dealing with it when it comes to success, and instead of saying to myself, well, yeah, I could do, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 promo posts a week. What are the possibilities if I do that? Instead of saying that, it's like, oh God, I got to do a promo post. Otherwise I'm not going to make any sales. And like, I really feel like I need to flip that. And so that's what I've been, yeah.
Mm.
So I just put in the chat box. Well, first of all, I heard everything you said, and I thank you for sharing. Um, One thing that really has helped me is identifying what does success look like for you? Because I heard you say, I'm afraid of success, you know? But then it's like, well, what does success actually look like for you? Because success for me is time freedom.
Mhm.
It's having enough money to do what I want in my life that makes me happy and help other people. So then identifying that number, of like what number gives me enough time freedom that I don't have to put my child in childcare. For me, like that to me, freedom, that is success. So if I'm like paying out money for more childcare, that is not success. So how can I make enough money to buy my time back to volunteer places, to help places, because I'm like a give back type person. So identifying for you, what does success look like? Because once you name it and identify it and give it like an identity, then you don't have anything to be afraid of because it's like so clear. So is success for you making $5,000 a month after all expenses in your business? Like, is that successful? Because that's to me not anything to be afraid of, you know? So just something to think about. You don't have to answer right now, but just identifying what is the success look like for you. And then social media is such an amazing outlet to help you achieve your goals, you know?
Yeah. That was
That's
actually my
perfect.
question too, Kat, is what does success look like for you, dear, on your
That's
terms?
perfect. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I'm gonna journal some more on that too.
Hmm.
It's the one thing that comes up now that I know is kind of going on is I was never really taught how to manage or deal with money. And my family, like they're big, my parents are living in a $500,000 house and they can barely afford to buy groceries. And I'm like, I don't want to do that any more than I've already done for the last 40 years. And
Mm.
so when it comes to my fear of success, I think that's what that is like, yeah, like nobody's been taught. My daughter, though, I got to give her some
Oh.
credit. She's got a financial teacher, and like he just taught them about bankruptcy. I'm so thrilled. But like it's for me, it's like okay, well, yeah, I could make bring in an extra $5,000-6,000 from my business, but then it's like, but am I gonna go do something stupid like buy an alpaca farm, or like can I manage my money the way I really feel like I need to? Not, I would love to have an alpaca farm, by the way, but I
Hmm.
don't need one right now, and so. I think that's what that is really and truly. But what I will say though is like it's bizarre because I feel like there's a part of me that's still holding back and dealing with that resistance, but there's another part of me that knows that because I set up a barter system with a financial expert. I do readings for her weekly and she's teaching me how to budget and finance and do my finances. And then I've actually agreed because my sister and I are kind of in this ascension journey together, which I'm really starting to think is a contract we had. But like my sister and I are really close. And I even told this financial person, like, I was like, I'll continue to barter sessions with you. But when you and I are done with the finances, I would like for you to work with my sister. And she's totally cool with that. And so, that's kind of it's progress. So the good news is I'm not beating myself up about it, but I feel like I have a hard time seeing myself sometimes, especially where my blockages are concerned. So I appreciate these prompts. That's why when you keep seeing me writing this stuff down.
Hmm.
I also
Yeah.
I had I had a sister, a member of the Sisterhood actually, come. She drove 2 hours yesterday, spent 6 hours with me, 2.5 hours I was on her table, and then 2 hours home. It was insane. So I had a 6 hour healing session with a sister yesterday. Talk about, I realized this is an aside, but I definitely realized my capacity to receive is challenged, and I was like, I need to receive this support because she just worked her ass off. If I'm not giving her the gift of my receptivity, then what is it for, right? So that's an aside,
Mm.
but just a reminder for all of us. In that session, I had this I had this feeling that I couldn't articulate, but as you were talking about victim Dira, I started to think about what that was, and I realized, like, especially for women like us, like I see you all in this way as women who are so aware of themselves and all aspects of themselves and working towards evolving themselves, and are so committed. You're so committed to being who you are, devoted to being who you are, that when these victim parts come up, and you talk about victim Dira being in her comfort zone, victim Naya being in her comfort zone, there's a loyalty, there's a devotion to her, because I'm so devoted to myself and to being my full self and not abandoning any aspect of myself, that if I were to be successful, what I deem to be successful, which I haven't yet experienced, then that would mean victim Naya isn't, like, she's gotta die. Right? She's gotta be let go. And I'm like, and I had this awareness, like, it's just kind of coming to me as you're talking about this. I was like, oh, there's a loyalty, there's a devotion to all aspects of self. And I haven't, I'm just beginning to meet my future self yet. I haven't developed as intimate a relationship with my future self as I have with my past self, which is the victim one, right? So it's about, like, honor. For me, what I'm realizing in this moment, take it or leave it, for me is it's about, like, honoring that devotion I have to myself and to my past selves and all that she's experienced, letting her know that she's done her work. Thank you for getting me here. I wouldn't be here without you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You've done your work now. You can rest. And then it's about, like, deepening my relationship to future me that has achieved and developing as much loyalty, if not more so, an even bigger loyalty to who I'm becoming versus who I've been. And like, I just got that in this exploration. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's
You're
so beautiful. I
yeah.
love that. I can't wait to do some writing on that. That makes so much
Mhm.
sense.
It's true. It's like future self is looking back at present self and saying, I need you to go back and look at past self and heal that and take care of them and give them the thing that they need so that y'all can both come up and meet me.
Mm. Yeah, true.
Yeah. And so dear, as you were talking, it made me think, like, okay, so we know that, like, little victim Dira is very comfortable with struggle, but if you look at little Dira as, like, literally another human, like another little person that you're responsible for, and that's where they are. They're like, I need to feel comfortable. I need to feel comfortable, and you're like, but I'm big Dira, I'm adult Dira, and so what you really need is to feel safe, which is different than comfort. And what you really need is to not struggle. What you really need is to, like, exist in ease. And I'm an adult. And so I know that. And I know that you don't know that because you're little, but I know that because I'm big. And so I'm here to give you the safety and the like comfort without being in the comfort zone, because that's like being in your blanket fort. But we got to get out of the blanket fort because we got some other stuff to do. So I'm going to release you of that need to struggle and be in the comfort zone. And you just go, like, play video games, okay? I got all the big people stuff. You don't have to worry about the big people stuff. That's literally, like, my version of shadow work. It's like talking to myself in that way. I don't know if that's helpful, but it's like, it always kind of comes back to, hey, little version, I got this. You just go play. And that's the version of, like, releasing and or dying. It's like,
Yeah.
just go play. I got everything.
So good. Safety is not comfort. It reminds me of, like, when I'm working out, that shit's not comfortable. When I'm, like, there lifting, like, doing a burnout set, I'm not comfortable. But when I'm feeling strong and stable and good in my body, I know I'm safe. I know I got this. I know I'm grounded, right? So I love that distinction between safety and comfort. Safety can include comfort. It can be a part of it, but that's not what safety is. That's an important distinction there.
Mhm.
I'm curious. I want to pivot the conversation a bit, if that's cool. Do you feel like you got what you needed, Dira? That we landed on that we you got some prompts to work through?
I do. Yes, I greatly appreciate that. I do want to
Yeah.
throw out one last comment,
Yeah.
specifically because I know Karen understands human design. I do have that struggle gate. I can't remember if it's a channel or not, but
It's a
I've also
channel.
got the, oh, okay. But I've also got the line too. So as you were talking, I kept saying, yes, I've got the struggle channel, but I keep remembering the previous human design coach that I worked with, how she's always saying, let it be easy. It's supposed to be easy. Let it be easy.
Oh, you got gate too. That's the trophy wife gate. That means that somebody else knows how to make the money and you know how to spend it. But it also means that like you are out here wanting to be a boss, and there's always somebody in your sphere who's like, you don't got to do all that. Let me take care of you.
Mm,
So it's up to you to decide, you want to be a boss or you want to be a housewife who's taken care of, right? But ultimately, the power is you know what to do with the resources when they're there. And the struggle channel is like, your struggle was not for nothing. It was actually to help the tribe and help the collective. And so it's about taking that, and you're doing that, taking that and like on the high vibration of it, using that to tell a story that's like, here's what I've learned from my struggle. Here's something that can help you too.
mm. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for having us dig into that a little bit. I think it's important, and I just got like that aha for myself too. So I think we all got something from it. I wanted to pivot because there's been this trend that I've been seeing more and more, and we talk about, and it made me think about it. I think when Karen, you asked around like how often do you actually share your offer, like what your offer is, and for the longest time, I had this idea because I come from the coaching world, right? That like I had to get on a call with somebody in order to tell them what it costs to work with me, right? But I've been seeing more and more, like not just the low ticket offers, but like high ticket offers. Like people are sharing like what their pricing is in their stories, on their feeds, in their reels. Like, and I'm like, oh, that is actually so smart because then when somebody books a call with you or goes to your website, they already like know what it is you cost. So like the thing that we go have to go through sometimes, like being on in a sales call with somebody, is like you don't have to go through that because they wouldn't have booked the call unless if right, so like they know, and they wouldn't have booked the call if they felt like it was something that they were afraid of, right? Or maybe they are afraid of it but they're willing to do it anyways, and then they'll book the call. So I'm just like, I'll share for myself. I just got to the point, and this is so silly because my one-on-one prices, my one-on-one offers start at $5,000, but for whatever reason, maybe because the sisterhood is newer, I don't know. I just got to a point where I could say $44 a month, easy. But for whatever reason, the $440 a year is hard. Like I notice that when I say, yeah, become a member of the Undeniable Sisterhood, it's $44 a month or $440 a year. Easy for me to say it to you because y'all are members. But for whatever reason, when somebody's new, or even when I'm saying it in my story or something like that, like I like the 440 like trips me up for whatever reason. I don't know. But yeah, I just think I'm thinking not only is it like share the offer, like what it is, from in this case for me it's the Undeniable Sisterhood, whatever it might be for you, but I also think there's value in actually saying your pricing, like letting
Mhm.
people, like just being totally transparent about pricing in your content. And I'm just curious your all y'all's thoughts on that. I see you, Karen.
I
Take it away. Oh no, Kat,
oh
you
oh
go.
go
No, Cat,
Karen
go
if
ahead.
you
Go Kat, go Kat.
Cat. Okay,
Go
okay.
Cat. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be short. I want to know how much something is right away. I always do. So, like, I have different emails that I write to people, and like we're super transparent with our pricing. But I also don't like the product I sell is an actual product. It like I don't make the product. It's not. well, we actually do have services. So like if you live here nearby us, we handle the installation. So we resell like faucets and different things like that. But I buy a lot of stuff, like services for myself to run my business and grow my mind and my life, and like a lot of like healing services. I love just knowing how much something is right away, but I also need to see the value. What are you going to give me? What do I get out of this? That needs to be really clear. Like if I click on someone's website and it's not like all about me and like the benefits it's going to provide me, and if the website's all about them, I don't work with them. I don't want to.
Yeah.
So I just need to know, how can you benefit me, and just tell me how much it is right away. Like I don't want to dig on anything, because I've built like 4 different websites, and that was our biggest issue, is like people had to dig to find how much stuff was. No digging. I don't want to dig.
No
I need
digger.
to know
No
in 2
digging.
seconds. Or go, Karen.
So what you said about digging, there's a piece in there psychologically. If you're the one making the offer and you have to make people dig for the price, it's almost like you don't want to get paid. Like if you're afraid to talk about money, it's almost like you don't want to get paid, right? And so in the coaching industry, there is a lot of like secrecy behind the discovery call, disclosure of how much something costs, because people, if you're like, it's 5,000, they're afraid that someone's just going to see the 5,000 and then they're going to stop reading and they're not going to book that consult. And so then the whole thing is like, get you on the consult, let you see the value of what you have to offer, blah, 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 that justifies the price. But if you're going off of this idea that you're constantly giving value on your social content and you're constantly letting people know, this is what it's like to work with me, this is the kind of stuff I work with my clients, they will see the value every time they interact with your posts, right? There's another piece in there where honestly, from like an anti-racist, anti-capitalist perspective, as much transparency as possible, it develops equity. Right. So if you want to have an equitable relationship with your clients, you can do that by being transparent about things like price. And so as we're starting to see more coaches be transparent about price, I think there is a piece in there, subconsciously or not, where they're like, I'm doing things the equitable way in service of everybody. And so that piece in there about 440 feels hard, but 44 feels easy. It's the only difference is a 0. And so it's like, is it because there's like a rejection piece in there, like the commitment to a year feels heavy, or it feels like less of an investment if it's monthly? Like what is that about? But ultimately, aren't they paying less, because 44 times 12 is more than 440, right?
Yeah, they get 2 months free. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Well, let me just say, first of all, those two ideas were both like bars, like mic drop moments. But that piece around equanimity and equitability is like, I just had a I just had a moment with that. That is so important. That is so important that we stand for equality in all the different ways that we can, and to know, and to just be made aware of like, oh, when you're transparent in your pricing, then it establishes equanimity for both you and for your potential client or sister or whatever it might be. Like that is just, that is such a gift. So thank you for that perspective. And I think for me, I'm really, case in point, Tywia and Soraya, right? Like Tywia had reached out to me like 2 months ago about, a call with Soraya, right? And or a container for Soraya, and she'd been in manifestation, and I got to this point where I was like, this, she kept being like, oh, 2 more weeks, next month, right? And I just got to this point where I was like, nah, like you guys get to have this. We're gonna make it happen. The sisterhood is gonna make it happen. And so part of one of my core values is accessibility, right? Making it accessible. So and I think that's why it's easier for me to say like a $5,000 offer than even like it took me a while to even get to where 44 was easy, because and here I go again, there's a little bit of scarcity coming up, but like I want the sisterhood to be available for anyone who wants it, who needs it. And so I do have there's like a fear, you know what, I don't even need to say it. You guys understand, right? There's a fear there about like wanting to, it being unavailable or unattainable. That's what it is.
Quick,
I do want
quick
to
comment.
just real
all
quick
you
because I
guys,
do
all
have to
like,
quick.
Oh dear, everybody in.
everybody, let's go.
Go,
Dira,
Dira.
Dira.
Yeah, no, thank you. Because I do have another meeting here in like 2 minutes, but all I wanted to say is thank you so much for that. That is all of your advice and your sort of reflections has been brilliant. And I actually had this idea and you guys confirmed it with what you were saying, that when I do my promo posts, it's why should they care about what I'm offering, how much it is, and what they'll get out of it. And I feel like
Yep.
that right there is the golden ticket.
Yeah.
Bars,
So
mic
thank you.
drop.
How it's going to benefit them.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that.
Oh, mhm.
All right, Kat, Karen, we got 2 minutes left.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Kat.
okay. So what I was going to say is that the retreat center I go to is called Hope Springs, and they've been there about for 40 years. And anyways, they have a program that when you go to a retreat there, you can either cover the cost of a full amount of a retreat for someone else who cannot afford it, or you can donate. I think the lowest is $25. So like when I sign up and pay for my retreat, it says, hey, do you want to give an extra $25, and then they create a pool of money that people like will contact them and say, they have to like prove that they're below the poverty line. And then they can go on a retreat that's paid for them, so that could be something for the sisterhood. It's like, hey, every 44 or every month you pay 44. Do you want to add $5 more? Because imagine if everyone in the sisterhood did that, that could cover like 3 women a month, So
Totally.
just an idea.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
And just to piggyback on that, I was gonna say every time you feel safe to say 440 a year, you're making it that much easier for Tailia and Soraya and people like Tailia and Soraya to get what they need to get in.
Yes. So true. I love you guys so much. Well, I want to close. There's this post I want to close with that I was just thinking about it as we were all sharing. And Dira, I know you got another call, but she just said, this is from Lauren of Love. She's somebody who I follow. I've done an interview with her on her podcast, but she said, I've decided Instagram is actually a platform we've created to heal ourselves in this lifetime and heal the planet. Think about it. We've manifested it for our good, despite the shadow side of tech, which is a storyteller for another day. Honestly, 100% Instagram is for healing, and it continues. And I feel that way about social media in general. Like no matter what platform we're on, it's energy, right? And that energy can be used for healing, or that energy can be used to a detriment, right? And I think for women like us, for people like us, we can use these platforms as a tool for healing, as a tool for positivity, as a tool for connection and intimacy. And that's really where I want to land today. All of the other actionables that we talked about today, also important, but just like keeping that in mind, I think is really important as we move forward, regardless of what we decide to do with our social media presence.
Yeah.
And on that,
awesome.
can I take a screenshot to use for my social media?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yay.
Everyone smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay, got it.
I'm so glad you did that, because I needed a
I'll tag you.
screenshot still for the for the thumbnail.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful. I love you ladies so much. I have to run. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Love you
too.
guys
Bye.
too.
Bye.
Bye.